Welcome back to Transfer Review right here on Euro Football Daily. It's me and the main man, Patrick Van Straten, in the building. It's deadline day. We're shooting this first thing at 9:52. So any moves that happen after this moment are not being accounted for. Take that into consideration right now before you type out that ridiculous comment. Patrick, how are you, mate? And what transfer are we starting with?
I'm good. I'm not expecting a lot of action on the Arsenal front today. So we start instead in West London, where Thibaut Courtois has finally got the move he wanted. Obviously went on strike to force through this switch to Real Madrid. It's happened. Chelsea have now got Rob Green and Kepa in as replacements. Now, Kepa, the Athletic Bilbao stopper, is 23 years old, and he has paid his £71 million release clause with money given to him by Chelsea. That's apparently how release clauses work in Spain. Now, they're going to get about 35 mil back for Courtois. And actually, they'll probably save a bit of money on wages here. Kepa's expected to get about 160k a week. My instinct would say that Courtois is probably on more like 200.
Yeah, or at least they were offering him around 200.
Yeah, so I think that that'll be a little bit of extra money. It makes Kepa the most expensive goalkeeper in history, overtaking Alisson from just a couple of weeks ago. Now, he made 30 appearances for Bilbao last season, travelled with Spain to the World Cup. I don't know, it seems like a good signing.
It's a panic buy, mate.
In terms of the quality of player.
Yeah.
Is it a panic buy?
It's definitely a panic buy. No doubt that he is a top quality goalkeeper, and they've actually done well to sign a player of his calibre this late in the window. But it's a panic buy nonetheless. I will not have anyone at home saying they were planning to spend 72 million on Athletic Bilbao's goalkeeper and let Courtois leave with 2 days left of the window. It is not a long-term plan. It might have worked out for the best though, because he's definitely a better option than Rob Green and probably than Rico. Right, are you in agreement with that?
I'd say so, yeah.
Rob Green, I mean Jack Butland. I don't know why I said Rob Green there. He's
Jack Butland.
He's definitely better than Rob Green.
Jack Butland is also not good. Like, I mean, I think that 70 mil on Kepa is probably better than 40 mil on Butland.
Yeah, I kind of agree. He's making around 3 saves a game in La Liga. I think he's got a pretty good penalty record as well. I think he saved 2 of his 3 penalties he faced last season. He's renowned as being an extremely good distributor, very athletic as well. So part of the reason that Maurizio Sarri's probably identified him is that distribution from the back to allow him to play a little bit deeper. I'm quite excited about the move. Gutted as a Man United fan, they've managed to get a keeper like Kepa through the door. I'd have been much more happy if they'd have signed Jack Butland, because it would have kind of been like one of those moves where you're like, they've ended up with Butland replacing Courtois.
But at the same time, they've at least been gouged for him. Like, if you're looking at it from the point of view of a rival
Massively
fan.
gouged.
Like, Real Madrid could have got him for 20 mil back in January, right?
He actually completed a Real Madrid medical last year, and the move was around 18 million euros. He completed the medical, went to sign the dotted line, and Zidane vetoed the transfer at the 11th hour because he feared it might unsettle a few members of the squad and off Keylor Navas. So he decided to veto the transfer. He came out publicly to say, I've called it off, but I might go back in for him next summer. Obviously not to be, left the club. Chelsea have moved in for him, snapped him up for 72 million, and Courtois has gone the other way. The good bit of business for Chelsea in selling Courtois to Madrid is that it's allowed them to bring in Kovacic as part of that deal. £31 million, obviously nothing for a goalkeeper of Courtois standard, really, in this modern market. But he only had 1 year left, and Kovacic, I love the signing pattern.
I think this is an amazing transfer. Like, I think that a midfield 3 of Jorginho, Kante and Kovacic
up there, the best.
I think it's arguably the best in Europe.
Oh, that's so spicy, mate.
I really do think it's that good. On the other hand, they don't have an option to buy with Kovacic, right?
No.
It's just a year-long loan. But that might be enough to get them back into the top 4. That midfield 3 is absolutely outstanding. They've kept Eden Hazard. I think Morata will have a good season. The right wing is still a little bit of an issue, and they've lost some striker depth by sending Michy Batshuayi out to Valencia.
Yeah,
right?
if that gets confirmed, it's kind of about 90% there, I think.
There's still work to be done there, but when you look at the rudiments that Sarri has on his hands, then you think that this is actually the core of a pretty good side. And for me, Chelsea, their window has been a mixed bag, but I still think that I'd probably be willing to guess at 3rd for them next season.
Yeah, I think they've definitely improved their chances. For sure, they've had a great last week of the transfer window, bringing in Kepa, Kovacic. They're also apparently in talks with Nabil Fekir over a potential deal. He's in London today trying to hash that out. I'm not sure whether they'll have time to get it over the line, especially with his dodgy knees. He's obviously desperate to get away from Lyon this summer, despite the fact publicly he's come out to say, I want to stay at Lyon. Bull, do you, Nabil? That's a load of rubbish. I think if they can get that deal over the line, they'll definitely try to. There's also potential outs with Danny Drinkwater leaving the club. West Ham are extremely interested in him. Bakayoko could go on loan, potentially to AC Milan. What's your thoughts on that one?
I don't really see the point. Like, I think that if he goes on loan to Milan, unless he has an absolutely storming year, then he's kind of going to lose value, isn't he? Like, you're basically saying, well, we didn't really fancy him last year. We've now sent him out on loan to Milan. And unless you get a bunch of goals and assists, your price is unlikely to rise. And given that he's not the sort of player who gets a bunch of goals and assists, his price is likely to, at best, stay the same. Like, when you're 23, 24 and you're going out on loan, I start to worry. Especially when you look around and you see Ruben Loftus-Cheek getting minutes, Ross Barkley looks like he's going to get minutes. If I were Bakayoko, I'd think, no, if I'm leaving, I want to leave on a permanent. So that's a little bit troubling. But I think it's good business for Milan, even though their transfers always seem a little bit disjointed.
Yeah, and end up disastrously. But what do you guys think of Chelsea's window and the last week and the signing of Kepa as well as Kovacic? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.
We go over to Watford next, but don't worry, we will return to some big clubs shortly. However, this move is so mental that we have to cover it. Watford apparently want Gonzalo Guedes, who is still at PSG, hasn't gone out on loan, hasn't really been linked that heavily with anyone. There are a lot of guys like that, actually. I think Leon Bailey, Herming Lozano, all those probably move by the time this goes live. But it's weird that nobody's gone in for them. But now apparently Watford want Guedes.
Yeah, this would be an odd one, wouldn't it? Given that he's currently playing for PSG, obviously spent the season last year on loan at Valencia. I think they paid around 30 million euros for him, right, back in January 2017. So a lot of people are excited about Guedes as well. He's kind of not a top tier talent across Europe, but kind of the second level down, I would suggest.
I'd agree with that.
So if Watford managed to get this deal over the line, it would be mental. I think the player is more keen to go back to Valencia. However, they're struggling to come to an agreement. PSG obviously want to sell him because they're trying to make as much money as they can to offset FFP, with the signing of Kylian Mbappe being kind of made permanent, or at least in the books, this summer, because he was on loan last year to PSG, wasn't he? So if they can get good money for him from Watford, I think PSG will let him go. And I think this will be an outrageous signing for Watford. For me, Watford are actually one of my tips to go down this season, at least in the relegation dogfight. I think Rudy Garcia is a horrible manager.
I think he's probably got to be odds on to leave first this season.
Oh no, that's got to be Claude Puel. Claude Puel within 3 weeks will be out of a job.
No, but his team's actually good, whereas Watford are going to lose relentlessly.
Yeah, true.
And I think that Javi Gracia will be out of the door. I mean, Watford have a bunch of money burning a hole in their pocket. They've only spent 24 mil so far this summer, and they've got 40 mil from the Richarlison deal alone. So we've seen them make this move and also bid 10 million for James Ward-Prowse from Southampton.
How much is the bid for Guedes?
Apparently 60 million euros.
Like a relegation candidate in the Premier League is spending 60 million euros in what's going on?
60 million euros. To be honest, I think that's probably not far off market value for him. You know, he's 21, he's got some pedigree at the highest level. If he goes back to Valencia, though, Valencia could have a stonking season with him and Michy Batshuayi plus Santi Mina's a year older. They've still got depth in terms of Rodrigo and Simone Zaza. That would be really exciting.
If they get Batshuayi in as well.
Yeah, I think Watford, I don't know. I see why they're making money moves, mate, because I would be scared of relegation as well.
So would I, man.
If I were Gonzalo Guedes, would you really think this was the best thing for your development?
No, definitely not. I definitely wouldn't be going to Watford if I was Gonzalo Guedes. I'd be pushing for a move to another European club. Obviously, their window finishes a little bit later. I don't rush into this one.
Yeah, that's true.
Because you've got a day left in the Premier League. Look to push for another move elsewhere in Europe, where their window closes on the 31st of August. You've got a little bit more time. So don't rush it if you're Gonzalo Guedes. What I think Watford have done, though, is they've seen teams like Wolves making big moves. Wolves have been linked to Kazawa, also another PSG player today, as a potential left-back option for them. I don't know whether they'll get that deal done, but I think Watford have seen that kind of move happening and gone, it, we've got to panic and get somebody in as well. We've sold one of our best talents from Richarlison. We need to sign a young, exciting European winger. I don't see this deal getting done. Do you see it getting done?
Nope.
Not happening, but an exciting rumour nonetheless.
So I think that we have to talk about Manchester United at this point. And to be honest, I have no idea what's going on, so can you tell me?
Well, as of this morning, Jose Mourinho has said he doesn't think any business is going to get done, and he would be surprised if the signing gets over the line. Oh my God, what is going on at Manchester United? We have had such a poor window. Obviously, we were desperate for a centre-back, and we have been trying to sign everyone under the sun. Harry Maguire seems the most likely option at this moment. We've had 2 bids rejected, according to Sky Sports. One earlier in the window, and now I think £60 million is the second bid. Leicester have rejected it. Leicester have obviously brought in 2 defenders, just in case he does leave. But I don't see that deal getting done, really. I think Harry Maguire probably wants to join United, but United are a bit nervous, rightly so, about paying over £60 million for a player of his calibre. What do you think about Maguire, firstly?
I like Maguire fine. I think he's good, but when you look at the guys they've been linked to, those people are a lot older, but they are also much better. Jerome Boateng gives you much more in terms of distribution. So does Alderweireld. They're just a better quality of centre-back. However, they are older, and Maguire is extremely good in the air. So if Mourinho wants to play a deep block, you can see the value in him.
Yeah.
I think that maybe their arm can be twisted, Leicester, but it might cost you another 20 mil. If they're getting in Filip Benkovic from Dinamo Zagreb, he's 21 years old, he's kind of one for the future. But Kala Soyuncu from Freiburg.
We've been linked to him, you've been linked to him?
Yeah, exactly. He's meant to be one of the best young centre-back prospects in Europe. You know, United obviously produced this shortlist.
Nine-man shortlist.
Yeah, this 9-man shortlist of centre-back candidates. And they were pretty much all big names except for Soyuncu.
Yeah.
Which really does kind of show just how good he's meant to be. So for Leicester to get him in, then I think maybe they would be willing to let Maguire go, knowing that they still have Wes Morgan technically, and they've got Johnny Evans, of course, yet to come back from injury.
Yeah, man, I don't know. I think the other two names obviously are Toby Alderweireld and Jerome Boateng. I think it's looking like Alderweireld has effectively been priced out of a move at this stage. Unless Man United are willing to deal on Tony Martial, which I really hope does not happen, I don't see that move happening. And the obvious other one is Jerome Boateng. You mentioned it there. United wanted to take him on loan because of his sketchy injury history.
Fair enough.
Obviously, we're looking to pay a little bit of a loan fee. Bayern Munich not interested in that. They wanted to sell him for €50 million. A few conflicting reports as to whether he actually wanted to join Man United. I think Sky Germany was saying that he didn't want to join Man United, and that he told Jose Mourinho he didn't want to leave Bayern, whereas Sky in England was saying that he did want to join Man United and that Jose was desperate to get him over the line. But I don't think any of these transfers are going to happen. Unless we sell Martial, I don't see us signing any defenders, which is a total mess. It's a catastrophe for Manchester United. I mean, Tottenham are going to let Danny Rose leave to someone like Schalke, and we're not in for him. We've got a 33-year-old, Ashley Young, failed winger, playing at left-back for us.
It's not great, is it? Unless Diogo Dalot comes in and is genuinely like...
He's injured, mate.
First-team quality. Yeah, but if he comes back from injury, he needs to come back like ready to play for Manchester United. Otherwise, you're in serious trouble.
There's no way. Jose said, I think, around May that Ashley Young is going to play 50 to 60 games this season.
How?
And he's 100% true. He's an idiot. I don't know what's going on. Valencia's injured. We have no right back. We wanted to sell Darmian for 15 million at the start of the summer. Now he's our starting right back.
How is Darmian still at Man United? You've been trying to sell him for 2 years.
It's an absolute disaster. I don't know what is going on at Manchester United. What do you think about United's window? Do you think it's been as much of a disaster as I do? Vote in the poll up there. Total disaster or just 99% disaster? Shambles.
Oh my.
Just before we move on to our transfer shocker, me and Pat thought we'd have a quick discussion about how we think the Premier League's window closing early is going to affect the rest of Europe. What do you make of it, Pato?
It's a little bit of a difficult one. I think it's basically going to be a problem for Premier League clubs, whereas for the rest of Europe, it'll be pretty good. Like, obviously, a lot of Premier League clubs will they'll have all their business done, but they'll still be able to sell. And therefore, if some of them have spent kind of a lot, knowing that they then need to sell to balance the books, then teams around Europe might be able to get a little bit of a discount on players because
I agree.
You know, clubs might have overspent just relying on the fact they'd sell later in the window. So I think that's one side of it. On the other side, you're going to see prices drop overall, would be my guess, because Gonzalo Guedes, 60 mil to Watford.
Yeah.
Once Watford are out of the equation, there's pretty much nobody around Europe who would want Guedes and could afford 60 mil. So I think at that point, you'll probably see PSG accepting something closer to 40 late in August from somebody like Inter, somebody like Valencia, because nobody's willing to just chuck money at the wall like they are in the Prem.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think you mentioned a couple of names earlier, the likes of Hirving Lozano. He's probably, in the back of his mind, holding off on a potential move to the Premier League in the hope that he can get a move to a bigger club for less money, admittedly, later in the window. I think that a lot of teams across Europe are probably holding off on business, thinking once the Premier League's out of the picture, we can get players a lot cheaper. Because there's no way they're going to be competing with Premier League money. If Watford are available to spend €60 million, some major teams across Europe can't even spend that. Like, I'm not even sure a team like Juventus is going to enter the market again for a €60 million player, especially not now they've signed Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah.
So when Watford and the rest of the Premier League boys drop out, I think you'll see prices across Europe fall by about €20 million.
Yeah.
But it's not great news for the Premier League because a lot of the talented players will be holding off in the hope that they can get moves to bigger European clubs. But what do you guys at home think of this early closure of the window in the Premier League? And should the rest of Europe be forced to follow suit? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.
The transfer shocker is Ousmane Dembele to Arsenal. This will never happen. I would love it if it happened, but it won't because it's stupid.
Absolutely no chance this deal gets done. This is being reported by a few Spanish outlets, and I think the Daily Mirror have also picked up on it. Apparently, a loan deal for £10 million for the first season with an option to buy of £90 million. A nice round number being thrown around there of £100 million for Ousmane Dembele, which seems too cheap given that he joined last season for over 140, was it? 130, something like that, some ridiculous amount. Yeah. And apparently Barcelona are now willing to take a 40 million loss on him already after one season where he was injured for most of it. Absolutely no chance in hell this is happening. Would you take him though? Of course you would.
Of course I would. It would be absolutely incredible. Arsenal need pace. They need kind of young players in attack because the attack's pretty old. And he would be the best possible candidate. However, there's literally no way this happens, surely. Like, the only thing that's really prompting this is Barcelona getting in Malcolm, and everyone has decided that this means the end of Ousmane Dembele. Why? Despite the fact that Suarez is visibly slowing down. He's around 32 now. Yeah. Messi's obviously 31 and will need to see his role limited as he gets older because he can't run 2 phases of play anymore like he used to. I just think it's just paper talk, isn't it? It's ridiculous.
It's such nonsense paper talk.
He would be so good. I mean, last season he admitted he didn't play that much. 24 games, I think he had. Half of those from the bench. But he was pretty much contributing a goal a game in La Liga.
And his dribble numbers are still outrageous.
Oh, they're unbelievable.
They're still unbelievable. So obviously Arsenal would take him. But what I find weird is that the signing of Malcolm, now everybody has thought, well, Malcolm's going to be the starter. What are you on about? Malcolm's going to be Ousmane Dembele's backup in my books.
Yeah.
Like, I think that Malcolm's going to get game time, but Ousmane Dembele's probably going to get more. I don't see why on earth Valverde would sell Ousmane Dembele unless he's had a major falling out with him behind the scenes. Something's gone significantly wrong and they've got personal problems, or Ousmane doesn't want to be there anymore, which I don't know why he would. No offence to Arsenal, want to leave Barcelona for Arsenal. He might receive more wages maybe, but then it's a loan deal, isn't it? So likely his wages are going to stay the same. I just don't see this transfer happening in a million years, especially not with 10 hours of the window left? Just not going to happen, is it?
No way.
No way. Unfortunately, Arsenal fans, you're not getting Ousmane Dembele. That's the end of Transfer Review today, but don't go anywhere other than Football Daily right now. We're about to go live at 5 o'clock with, I believe, Craig Mitch.
Yes.
Fan Hour Live, deadline day. But after that, Pato, what should people do?
This weekend, we've got the Football Social. It's back at 3 o'clock on Saturday. We'll be covering the second day of the Premier League season, technically, but of course the first round of fixtures. It's going to be an exciting one. I'm genuinely pumped about the season. Can't wait for United to explode, for Arsenal to continue to be for Liverpool not to win a trophy. It's going to be amazing. Come on.
Is it?
You're not cheerful?
No. Cheers, Jose. Thanks very much, Ed Woodward. Goodbye.
Bye.